Glory to Jesus Christ. Today is Friday, March 26th, the day after the Annunciation, and the 12th day of the fast. It seems strange that we're already in the double digits of the fast, and it reminds us how quickly things can go. It reminds us also, I mentioned about celebrating the Feast of the Annunciation yesterday, kind of how quickly that happens in the cycle of Lent itself. It's like we jump out of Great Lent just for a little moment. We had the Vesperal Liturgy last night, and it's very festive. And then right away we were back with the Presanctified Liturgy today, and back into the fast. So we jump in and out of that feast very quickly, but hopefully we don't lose track of its vital importance to everything in salvation history, and how vital that is. That on the day of the cross, on Friday, as we remember the tree that brought life, as opposed to the tree that brought death first, that also that in the person of the Theotokos, there's renewal as well. That first man disobeyed God, and then ultimately in the person of the Theotokos, we see that mankind has obeyed God and said, let it be according to your will. And so how vital that is. We have two texts to read from the Triodion today, and then we'll be back to a homily from St. Nikolai. So the first text, it says, "Still the troubled waters of my mind, O Christ, granting me a peaceful voyage across the sea of the fast, and make me come to anchor in the haven of the resurrection." So this is nautical imagery about the fast being a voyage across the sea, and that ultimately we're trying to anchor in the haven of the resurrection. I think a way of thinking of that anchoring that will happen is that Christ will come back, and that is something that we're waiting for. It's imminent, it's going to happen, but we don't know when. And we'll refer to more of that theme and that topic from St. Nikolai in his homily today. Our second text, it says, "Killing the passions, the present fast brings promise of healing to those wounded by sin. God has given us this fast to help us. Let us honor and accept it as the divinely written tables of the law, given through Moses. Let us not choose wanton self-indulgence, because of which the tables once were broken. Let us not perish with those whose carcasses fell in the wilderness. Let us not be like the Jews of a sad countenance, but let us rejoice with the church. Let us not be hypocrites like the Pharisees, but in the spirit of the Gospels, let us put on the beauty of holiness, glorying in the cross of Christ, the deliverer of our souls." And you'll note in the note with the video the scriptural references that this one text has from the books of Exodus, Numbers, Matthew, and Psalms. And so that God has given us this fast to help us. And so we need to always remember that, not to punish us, but to help us. And so how important that is, and that it's killing the passions, and hopefully we're fighting against the passions in life, those things that we think we cannot do without, and that the fast is helpful in that way. So lots to think about in those two texts. I mentioned connecting with that first one, the theme, the nautical theme that was there, and anchoring in the haven of the resurrection. So our homily today is from St. Nikolai, and in the prologue, it's for today. It's for March 26th, and it's on the imminence of the coming of the Lord. And he quotes from Revelation, "Behold, I come quickly." Revelation 22:7. And St. Nikolai writes, "Unbelievers and those who are perishing in spirit will say, 'Nearly 2,000 years ago he promised that he would come, and he has not come yet.' This is how they laugh, those who will lament in eternal torment. But we who are prepared for happiness in his kingdom know that he will come in power and glory, just as he promised. We know that he has already come countless times and showed himself to his faithful ones. Did he not come to John the divine, to whom he spoke these words, Behold, I come quickly? John saw him in power and glory, felt his hand on him when he was frightened, and fell before his feet as dead. And he laid his right hand upon me. Revelation 1:17. Did he not come to Saul when he breathed hatred against the Christians, and when on the road to Damascus he fell on the ground, seeing the Lord and hearing his voice saying, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And again, did he not enter into the heart of the Apostle Paul when he recognized that nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ lives in me? Did he not come to the countless martyrs, both male and female, who suffered for his name, to encourage them, to heal them, and to have mercy on them? Did he not come to Anthony the Great, Theodore Stratolates, Saint Haralambos, Saint Marina, Saint Sylvester, and many, many more? But what are we saying? Did he not return from the kingdom of death on the third day and appear before the apostles? Did he not come to the aid of the church many, many times? And did he not resurrect her as from the dead whenever her enemies rejoiced, thinking that they had given his church over to death forever? Did he not manifest his power in the church in the time of Nero, as well as in the time of Constantine, in the time of Julian, as well as in the time of Justinian, in the time of Arab tyranny, as well as in the time of the Turkish and Mongolian oppression of Christians? O my faithful brethren, do not submit to deception. He came countless times and comes even today. He comes to every soul that is accessible, regardless of impurity. However, we are all waiting for him to come for the last time in power and glory. We know that his coming is certain. O Lord, most gracious, before thou comest, make us worthy to recognize thy face and to be ashamed of our own faces darkened by sin. To thee be glory and praise forever. Amen. And so St. Nikolai reminds us that yes, we are waiting for that last coming of Christ, but that he comes very often. And we know that that has happened so many times throughout history, and that he's coming today, and that he is here. And so we hopefully are aware of that, know that. It's possible because Mary on the Annunciation was able to say, let it be to me according to your word, and that Christ is amongst us, he is with us. And not only that, but he was present even in the Old Testament prior to the Annunciation, but that's another larger theological topic as well. But he is with us, God is with us, and for that we have great joy knowing that he is there. I pray that you have a blessed day as we head into this now second weekend of the Joyous Fast. Glory to Jesus Christ.